So there's a question I've been getting a lot lately. Juan, what's going on in St. Pete? Because just 5 or 6 years ago when we moved here, it was Tampa that got all the spotlight. But lately, I see more families, young and seasoned professionals, and even out-of-state investors who are quietly turning their attention to St. Petersburg. So the question is St. Pete the oldest new hotspot near Tampa, or is it just another overhyped coastal town with great PR? If we've never met before, my name is Juan Alcala. I make videos that are all things Tampa Bay, what it's like to live here, what it's like to work here, what it's like to play here. And a little over 6 years ago, my wife Kate and I sold everything we owned, packed up our family of 5, and moved 1,200 miles south here to the greater Tampa Bay area, and have been loving it ever since. So much so that me and my real estate team have helped over 150 families make that same exact move. So if you've got questions or are considering making a move to the area, reach out to me and the team. All of our contact information is listed down below. There's even a link to my calendar where you can schedule a time that is most convenient for you. We'll jump on Zoom call, put together a strategy session, and help you make that dream a reality. Now, you guys know I keep my finger on the pulse of all things happening in Tampa Bay, but here's the truth. We're watching something very special happen in St. Petersburg right now. I'm talking about luxury development, downtown transformation, art culture, and a lifestyle that feels very different from what you get in other Gulf Coast cities. So in this video, I'm gonna walk you through what's happening in St. Pete right now, who it's for, and why maybe you just didn't see this move coming. So I wanna share with you my first impression of what St. Pete feels like to me. If Tampa is the polished business hub of the Bay, St. Pete is the creative soul. I mean, I remember the first time I drove down Beach Drive and saw the Vinoy Hotel and then went over to the park and you could see the pier. I mean, there's just so much going on. There were people running, walking their dogs, out shopping, at the restaurants. There's this whole pulse about it. I always describe it to clients as like, it's a vibe that you just have to see. And right now there's this fusion of historic charm and modern glass towers. You've got microbreweries and rooftop lounges everywhere. There are galleries, and of course you can drive over to the Gulf beaches or just hang out right there on the bay, play some volleyball, and put toes in the sand there too. And I think a wonderful way to describe St. Pete is being coastal without being sleepy. You know, it's urban without being chaotic. Downtown St. Pete is walkable, artistic, and alive. You know, think Saturday morning markets, live music on the pier, and sunset cocktails where the views feel like a lifestyle ad. So why is St. Pete getting so much attention lately? I think it's simple. The city's done a great job of attracting young and seasoned professionals along with families. It's not just a place where retirees live. I think we're well past that now. And over the past 10 years, the city has strategically invested in a world-class pier district, high-end mixed-use developments, and a revitalized arts corridor. And on top of that, you got waterfront parks, clean beaches, and an average of 361 sunny days a year. They don't call it Sunshine City for nothing. I mean, let's be real. You're looking at a city that's no longer up and coming. It's already arrived. And homebuyers who used to focus on areas like South Tampa or even Naples are now saying, wait, we can get culture and the coast right here. Now let's talk about who's showing up and who's moving in. St. Pete is attracting remote professionals in finance, tech, and marketing who really want that coastal urban blend that is really hard to find in a lot of areas. Empty nesters and entrepreneurs who want walkability, restaurants, and water views, but with no HOA rules is a great spot for it. We got excellent restaurants, by the way. If you haven't heard me talk about date nights with Kate and how we love to go down to St. Pete, that is one of the best spot for foodies that you're ever gonna find in the entire Tampa Bay area. It does not disappoint. And it's also attracting high-income families who value private schools, parks, and culture without feeling buried in suburbia. So if you love the Gulf but want more than golf and gated communities, St. Pete is where you're going to find it. And I almost forgot to mention that St. Pete is one of the most dog-friendly places you're ever going to visit. I mean, there are literally places called the Bark Bar where you can take the dogs, hang out, they can have a seat at the table, you can grab a cocktail. There's a lot going on. We've got the F1 races down there. We've really come to love those. The city's just alive at that point. It's just a great time. I hope you're getting value out of today's video, and I want you to get more value in the future. So it would be amazing if you hit that like button. YouTube loves it when you do that. And more importantly, hit the subscribe button. And that will ensure that YouTube delivers this type of content directly to your homepage. And if you have more questions about moving to the area and you want to schedule that Zoom call that I offered earlier, feel free to jump down in the description down below. There's a link, it'll take you directly to our website, just a few questions, and it'll take you directly to my calendar where you can schedule a time that is most convenient for you. Now let's take a look at the real estate picture and talk some numbers. Can you still get a good deal in St. Petersburg? Well, you're gonna have to define deal. The answer is yes. However, that may not be somewhere you wanna live. Now, St. Pete is very diverse. It's got a mix of both incredibly affluent neighborhoods, condos that are high rises that are well into the millions, and it also has some challenging areas. And I'm just gonna be honest with you guys. However, that doesn't stop people from coming here. You just gotta know what fits your lifestyle best. When you start to talk about downtown condos and high rises like Saltaire or one St. Petersburg are going for $1.2 to $4 million, depending on size and views. Historic Old Northeast is one of my personal favorite neighborhoods. It has bungalows and estate homes ranging from the 900s to well over 3 million. If you're looking at an area like Snell Isle or Venetian Isles, you got waterfront luxury, think 2 million to 6 million on average. And the reality is St. Pete is no longer Tampa's cheaper little sibling. It's standing on its own and is commanding prices to match. But here's the difference. Many of these homes offer walkability, water access, and character you just won't find in newer master plan communities. And it's not all that expensive. I mean, you can find deals in the range of the high 200s, but again, those are gonna be in some challenging neighborhoods. What we typically see clients invest in the homes in the area there are, somewhere starting around the low 400s, and you can escalate quickly. Areas like historic Northeast, like we said, a couple $1,000,000 is easy to spend in St. Pete also, so keep that in mind. And if you're gonna spend 7 figures on a home, this is a city that actually gives you the lifestyle in return. And speaking of that lifestyle, let me paint a picture for you. A sunrise walk on the St. Pete Pier with a coffee in hand. Midday work sessions on a rooftop co-working space downtown, late lunch at Green Bench Brewery or the Library, which is an incredible restaurant. Kate and I love that. Sunsets over at Passa Grill, or maybe it's dinner at Brick and Mortar or Teak on the Pier. St. Pete isn't just a place where you escape life, it's where you design one. And for those of you coming from areas like Southern California, Pacific Northwest, the Midwest, or the Northeast, the vibe feels fresh, easy, and elevated. Now, I don't like making videos like this if I don't show you what to watch out for. And before you go all in, here are a few things you might want to know. The housing inventory can be tight in desirable areas like Old Northeast or near Beach Drive, historic Kenwood, and those types of neighborhoods. New construction is very limited downtown. Most of the luxury towers that are being built right now are actually selling out through pre-construction. So if that's something you're considering, you've got to move pretty quickly. And homeowners insurance can get tricky the closer you get to the water, but the right property and the right team can help you navigate that. And like I said earlier, there are specific neighborhoods that do have higher crime ratings, and it's something you need to pay attention to. With the city of over 200,000 people, that's a lot of residents. A lot of things happen. Is this going to be one of those crazy war zones that you see on TV? Absolutely not. It is fairly isolated, and a lot of the neighborhoods we talked about earlier, I think most of the residents would say that they have a very safe feel about them. Listen, people aren't going to be out running, walking their dogs, hanging out with their kids and their friends outside if they don't feel safe. And that's something that you see all over St. Petersburg, especially when you get closer to the neighborhoods that we discussed earlier. And I'm also not someone who's going to be on here telling you that you got to rush to buy every single property that you see. I think that we're in a pretty balanced market. And like I said earlier, the more desirable the neighborhood, the quicker the properties move. But I don't think that's much different than anywhere else in this country right now. So is the window to buy closing in St. Pete? No. Do I still think you can get a really good value in St. Petersburg? Absolutely. Do I think it's a cheap place to live? No, it has been found out. Now, is it going to become the next Naples or Santa Barbara? I don't think that that's the case. But hey, it's really hard to predict what's going to happen in the future, especially when people have found their paradise, so to speak. So like I said earlier, is St. Pete the newest old hotspot near Tampa? Well, if you're looking for a walkable coastal city, luxury living without the pretentious feel, culture, cuisine, and creativity, and an actual lifestyle worth moving for, then yeah, it's not the next hotspot. It's already one. But the question is it the right one for you? So if you're thinking about making the move and want help navigating which neighborhood fits your vibe and lifestyle best, we'd love to walk through that with you. There's a link in the description down below to book a Zoom strategy session with me or someone on the team. We'll pull up Google Maps, pricing, inventory, and give you the real insights that you just can't get from Zillow or Google. And we're gonna put 2 more videos up here about St. Pete that people have absolutely loved. So if you've got more questions, that's a great place to start.